News.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Citi Prime News, which is live from our studios at number 11 Dr. Morton Loop in Adabraka, Accra. The news is also live across the globe on citinewsroom.com, Citi 97.3 FM on Facebook, and CityTube on YouTube. I am Wilma Obuobisa-Coleman.
And I am Caleb Kuda.
Coming up over the next 1 hour, officials from the Ministry of National Security work overnight to fix the Atala section of the Cape Coast Accra Highway, which was covered in silt following the weekend's floods, to ease the commute of road users.
Because of the traffic, we see that the place is blocked. So we are here to try our best to open up so that the traffic can flow.
Meanwhile, frustrated commuters spent hours in traffic this morning on the stretch despite efforts to make the road motorable.
When they pass here, they block the other lane. So this is our problem. This is a major road to the west. You see, they know, but I don't know why.
If they do some huge bridge here and that the water can pass through under and the car will pass over, that will be better.
Still on the rains, Ghana Meteorological Agency wants Ghanaians to brace themselves for more rains as minor rain season is projected to end in December.
Have dropped down to the coastal and the middle areas. They still really need the north. So we should expect brace ourselves for this.
And this is across the country. Rain across the country.
Still ahead, Upper East Regional Minister issues a 1-month ultimatum to refugees from Burkina Faso to relocate to a reception center provided for their settlement at Tarikum.
As RESEC, we have a view that, look, if you come and you need safe haven and we have provided one for you, then you have to go there. If you're not going there, then it means that basically you didn't come as a refugee and therefore you came in illegally and then you have to go back to your country.
And much later, calls for social and economic inclusion deepens as recent report by the Ghana Statistical Service reveals glaring gender wage gap.
One of the highest paid persons in my company is the female. She's a deputy CEO in the company. She earns more than the general manager in the company. I strongly hold the view that we don't have such discrimination in Ghana.
Stay tuned as we bring you details of all that and more on the Citi Prime News, which is also live across the country on a number of affiliate stations. In the Western region, we're on Premier 100.5 FM and Beach 105.5 FM, both in Takoradi. In the Bono region, we are live on Green and 95.9 FM in Sunyang. In the Ashanti region, we're on Orange 107.9 FM in Kumasi. In the Eastern region, this is right, 90.1 FM in Somanya. In the Volta region, we're on Holy 98.5 FM in Aplao. In the Northern region, we're on Dasuma 99.1 FM in Yendi. In the Upper East, we're on Word 88.3 FM in Zuarungu. And in the Upper West region, we're on Bugli Radio 88.6 FM in Wa.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Grateful for your time this afternoon. We'll settle for the details of our stories now. Officials of the Ministry of National Security has moved to the Kaswa toll booth area to clear heaps of sand that have taken over the highway after last Friday's rain. There were gridlocks on the stretch over the weekend as a result of the silt on the road from the Broadcasting Hill area. Central Regional Correspondent Calvin Stetter visited the area and comes through with this report, following report read by Hawa Idrisu Mustafa.
The last 3 days has seen the Kaswa toll booth stretch to the Atala area experience heavy traffic. This is as a result of heaps of sand washed onto the highway by Friday's rains. This phenomenon has been attributed to human activities in the area. The heaps of sand have found their way to the Atala area, also creating huge traffic. Vehicles from both ends of the road find it difficult to move, particularly on the Accra-bound section. On the toll booth sections, some individuals have taken it upon themselves to clear the debris and cash in, as road users sometimes give them money for their effort. Persons who stay in Kaswa and its adjoining communities in the past 3 days have had difficulties accessing commercial vehicles to their homes from Accra, with some of them compelled to trek. The Ministry of National Security has moved in to ensure that the road is cleared. Tipper trucks were seen clearing the road on the Atala section to ensure easy movement. The team also moved to the toll booth section to perform a similar exercise. Here is XWO1 Stephen Osei speaking to Citi News about the operation.
Because of the traffic, we've seen that the place is blocked. So we are here to try our best to open up so that the traffic can flow. You know, there's a choke gutter at the place. That causes it. So we are trying to do our best to clear the blockage so that we can get the flow traffic. Yes, from here we go back to toll booth at the Osiadai place. We are trying our best to direct the traffic, but we are facing difficulties because some of them are not cooperating. We are not going to sleep tonight. We are going to work overnight so that at least the traffic can flow. Maybe by tomorrow early in the morning, we'll be able to clear the place. Both Atala and then Esiadai. You know, we are facing a heavy rainfall, and that causes it. So they should cooperate with us so that the work can go on.
Citi News' Hawa Idrisu Mustafa read the report filed by Central Regional Correspondent Calvis Tete. Meanwhile, commuters from Cape Coast to Accra were left stranded around the Kaswa toll booth this morning due to the heavy traffic buildup. Some passengers disembarked and trekked the rest of the journey as commercial vehicles refused to use the stretch for fear of being stuck in traffic. This is as a result of the perennial mud flood that affects the highway after rains. Here are some of them speaking to Citi News.
Friday, no vehicle is passing this way on that other lane unless here. So when they pass here too, they block the other lane. So this is our problem. I've been saying that anybody responsible, you see, the government is responsible to this, should come on. And excuse me to say, these high-ranking members, they have been passing to this road. This is a major road to the west. You see, they know, but I don't know why.
We are pleading to the government to check about it and then do something about it. I think if they do some huge bridge here and that the water can pass through under and the car will pass over, that will be better. So that the water will pass into the Wedger Dam. Yeah, I think that will be the proper way the government should do for us.
This situation has been there already. We cannot say those who are working there has created this problem. This problem is there. It's over 6-7 years now that we are facing this problem. So please, you are the media, you are the print and the electronic and print media has to channel our grievance to the government. This is what we are facing, please.
How long were you in traffic Friday, Saturday and today?
I said Friday was 4 hours, the other day was 3 hours. You know, there are voluntary people who are on these streets. There are some of guys who are helping us to
clear the road.
You heard the commuters at the Kaswa section of the Cape Coast Accra Highway. We'll go over the phone lines now to speak to our Central Regional Correspondent, Calvis Tete, who is on the scene to tell us more. Calvis, many thanks for joining us. Describe to us the situation there as we speak.
Well, earlier in the morning, the traffic was huge, but around 10:30 to 11, it was moving gradually, but suddenly the traffic has become huge again. There is huge gridlock on the Kaswa bound section. The reason being that, the Accra bound section is still experiencing some difficulties in the sense that there's a heap of sand on that stretch. Persons are trying, and people around are trying to, collect those heaps of sand from the portion of the road and then drop it somewhere for free movement. But, the Ministry of National Security is also here. They are on the Atala bound section, getting to the West Hill small area. So they have to finish from that side, and then they come down to the toll booth area to also start that portion. That is why there's huge traffic on the Kaswa bound section now as we speak. Persons I spoke to this morning are not happy that, they have to endure this thing anytime it rains. Their worry is that authorities know the right thing and that they should do the right thing to ensure that persons who are living on this stretch are okay. This is as a result of human activities on the broadcasting top. Thereabouts, the broadcasting top, we have persons who have built on that hill. If you are heading towards Kaswa and then you turn to your left, you will see a very steep hill on the shoulder of the road. People have built structures on that side. Human activities such as people cutting down of trees, reshaping of some portions of the area brings the sand onto the stretch when it rains. So this is why this portion of the road is experiencing huge gridlock. And then, the gutter is quite small for the stretch. So the people I spoke to are saying that if authorities can also factor in bringing some underground gutters to ensure that the water that moves from the top there enters into the gutter without coming onto the street, it will also help ease the situation. Roma, it's a sad situation here. Earlier on Saturday, people had to trek to their home because when it rained on Thursday, Friday, there was huge traffic. People were even, Okada was even charging as much as 200 cedis from Accra to Kaswa because, Trotro and then other commercial vehicles were not moving because they were stuck in the traffic. So it was also time for people to cash in and make money. And anybody wouldn't be happy paying 200 cedis for Okada from Circle to Kaswa because of this huge gridlock, Roma.
Thank you so much for that update. That was Citi News' Central Regional Correspondent Calvis Tete bringing us up to speed on the situation on the Kaswa section of the Cape Coast Accra Highway.
Now, the Ghana Meteorological Agency has warned the public to brace itself for more rains as the minor rain season is projected to end in December. Despite being a minor rainy season, heavy rains have already caused flooding in several parts of the country. Deputy Director of Forecasting at the Ghana Meteorological Agency, Joseph Potofi, tells Citi News that heavy rains are expected across the nation during this period.
What is happening today will not be compared to what happened on Friday at all, because this is just a showers and slight rain in some areas, and the sun will definitely come up. It will not be anything.
So Friday was serious. What should we expect in the coming days? Do you know if we are going to have the 50 millimeter type of rain this week?
We will be doing analyzing the charts this morning, and then by evening we'll be able to come out with what will happen this week. But what I can say is that we are in a minor rainy season. And if you could recollect, we came out with some bulletin that this minor rainy season is going to be heavy. There are going to be showers, a lot of rains. And I think that is what we are expecting. We are in a minor rainy season. And at certain times, based upon some of the phenomena that we are having, the El Nino La Nina issues, there is a possibility that we'll have a lot of rains in the minor rainy season in some areas. Currently, as I'm speaking, it's raining part of the northern region heavily. And usually, this is the period where it should have dropped down to the coastal and the middle areas. There is still raining in the north. So we should expect to brace ourselves for this.
And this is across the country. Rain across the country. When will the minor rainy season end?
In Accra, it will end somewhere in November. But in the north, October, November, October ending, it will end in the north. But within Accra, at certain times, maybe within December, we can have some rain.
Now, speaking on floods, Mr. Potofi revealed that Accra's dwindling resilience level means many parts will be flooded under 2 hours with 50 millimeters of rains.
Yes, because the resilience level of Accra has dropped. If we have a rain above 50 millimeters within 2-3 hours, a lot of Accra will be flooded. And that is what happened. The rains were, some areas were about 3 hours, 2 hours, 1 hour. And in airport, we had a 76. We are now collecting the rest from the Weja, Pokwase, and the Itebaron, Kaneshi, and all those. We have stations there. So this morning we'll collect them and analyze them and see. But in some areas, the rains were very heavy.
Just give me a sense of what 50 millimeters is. Is it that much rain?
Yes, it's that much rain. It's 50 millimeters is a lot of rain. 50 millimeters, you take 1 meter by 1 meter squared, and you have 50 millimeters of rain there. It's a lot of rain. And let's say you put a barrel in front of your house and it's raining, definitely the barrel will get full.
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
With the rainwater, it won't get full even if not like I'm connecting water from the roof. Just
no.
Wow.
No.
So that's a lot of rain.
The one dripping. Yeah, that's a lot of rain.
Joseph Portofi is the Deputy Director of Forecasting at the Ghana Meteorological Agency.
Now, the Upper East Regional Minister, Stephen Yakubu, has given refugees from Burkina Faso a month's ultimatum to relocate to the CARICOM reception center provided for their settlement. Over 3,000 nationals are seeking asylum in about 4 communities in the region. The minister explains that the directive is to afford the authorities the ability to easily monitor the activities of the refugees. Stephen Yakubu tells Citi News persons who refuse to move will be repatriated.
Ghana Refugee Board and UNHCR, they have a camp for them. Therefore, we want them to move to the camp because it will be better for us to manage them, better for us to feed them, better for us to look after them, basically. And also security-wise, it's also better for the region. So ask them to come there. And they are asking for about a month so that they could they harvest their products. Because when they got there, the landowners or the chiefs gave them land to farm, and they have farm. So so they asked us to give them just a month for them to basically collect their farm products so that they can go back to the camp. And we as RESEC, we have a view that, look, if you come and you need a safe haven, and we have provided one for you, then you have to go there. If you're not going there, then it means that basically you didn't come for, as a refugee, and therefore you came in illegally, and then you have to go back to your country. And these are the 2 options that we give them. Either they come to the camp, or if they are not coming there, then they came in illegally, then they have to go back to their country.
You heard Stephen Yakubu, who is the Upper East Regional Minister. We are joined over the phone lines by our Upper East Regional correspondent, Fred Awuni, to tell us more on this issue. Fred, many thanks for joining us. We know that the Upper East Regional Minister, he has issued a 1-month ultimatum for the refugees from Burkina Faso to relocate to the CARICOM reception center. Quickly paint a picture of the refugee situation in the region.
Thank you. You will recall that last year, around June, the violent extremist activities in the southern part of Burkina Faso, which is sharing a boundary to Ghana in the Boku West area, particularly communities like Kaya and Belenyali in the Burkina Faso area, where came under serious violent extremist activities, leading to residents within these communities, majority of whom are women and children, fleeing neighboring Burkina Faso to seek asylum in Ghana. And particularly, initially they were at the Boku West district, in the community called the CARICOM community. Now, fast forward this year, around February, the issue escalated. The activities, violent extremist activities in neighboring Burkina Faso escalated, and we saw more of the refugees coming into Ghana. But this time round, they went to Garu. Now, what we do know is that due to the situation in Burkina Faso, the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees had worked or partnered with the District Assembly to secure a 30-acre land at Takurum to establish a housing facility to take care of these refugees in Sapeliga. But it does appear that those who came and have settled at Garu argue that they have been there for some time now and have seek for some farms to engage in farming activities, and so they would want to harvest their produce before they then move to the original Takurum, where housing facilities have been put together for these asylum seekers. And so we're talking about 3,000 of these refugees in communities such as Zongo, Kugri, and Denugu in the Garu district in the Upper East region. So that is the situation in the area. But then residents of these communities, not much are complaining, but for security reasons and for the Regional Security Council to be able to monitor the activities of these refugees, it is clear that they want all of them to be at one place, which is Atakorum, so the activities can be monitored.
Right. Thank you so much for that update. Our City News is Fred Awuni from the Upper East region, and he's been giving us updates on the refugee situation in the region. You're still listening to the Citi Prime News live from our studios at Adabraka in Accra. Still to come in the bulletin, Bank of Ghana maintains monetary policy rate at 30% after reviewing the economic situation. We'll bring you details shortly. Do stay with us.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
It's time for the ultimate corporate sports gathering, the Citi Business Olympics 2023. Get ready to unleash your competitive spirit and showcase your athletic prowess as we bring together the best of the best from the corporate world. From traditional sports like seven-a-side football, basketball, sack race, and volleyball, to unique challenges like tug of war and arm wrestling, there's no shortage of excitement and adrenaline pumping action. So, gather your colleagues, lace up your sneakers, and get ready to compete in the Citi Business Olympics. It's time to show off your skills, build connections, and have a blast in the ultimate corporate sports extravaganza. To register your company to participate, call 0205 973 973 or 0558 973 973 now. Which company will emerge as champion and which CEO will win the ultimate CEO's challenge at the Citi Business Olympics 2023? We'll find out on 30th September 2023. Venue, Eden Heights Sports Complex, Wager. Time 8 a.m. The Citi Business Olympics 2023 is powered by Citi TV with support from Citi FM and proudly sponsored by Lozati Lozenges from Unicom Chemist Limited, EK Brand Consult, Blue Jeans Energy Drink, Pollard Insurance, and Baltic Ghana Limited.
Are you faced with this challenge and will want to learn more about automobile maintenance to avoid such frustrating moments? Tune in every Thursday at 4 p.m. on 97.3 Citi FM as we bring you the solutions to all your automobile problems on the Total Energies Auto Show, proudly sponsored by Total Energies Ghana.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Yeah, welcome back. Now, the Bank of Ghana has decided to maintain the monetary policy rate at 30% after reviewing the economic situation. This means that lending rates in the country will remain unchanged. This is the second time this year that the central bank has kept the rate steady after doing so in May. The decision comes after a 50 basis point increase in July, driven by inflationary pressures. However, Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Ernest Addison, says they are now focused on quickening the disinflation process based on global economic pressures.
On inflation dynamics, the continued maintenance of a tight monetary policy stance and relative exchange rate stability have contributed significantly to the disinflation process observed in the year thus far. Headline inflation has declined by a cumulative 14% since the peak of 54.1% recorded in December 2022. Non-food inflation has also declined sharply by close to 20%, broadly reflecting the effectiveness of monetary policy. All core inflation measures monitored by the central bank are trending downwards, indicating continued easing of underlying inflation pressures. In addition, 1 year ahead survey-based inflation expectations seem well anchored. While the disinflation process has resumed, which results in a gradual return towards the target band over the medium term, bearing unanticipated shocks, rising international crude oil prices and adjustments to utility tariffs remain a risk to the outlook, which would have to be managed through monetary policy vigilance. Given these considerations, the committee decided to maintain the policy rate at 30%. The committee further indicated that while the expectation is for continued disinflation, it stands ready to respond appropriately should inflation deviate from these broad expectations.
You heard Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison.
Wilma, there is a worrying development in Janga in the West Mamprose district of the Northeast region because the police there have initiated an investigation into the alleged shooting to death of a 60-year-old woman accused of witchcraft. The woman was reportedly shot by a young man who is related to her. The body has been taken to the Wale Wale Hospital for an autopsy. A brother-in-law of the deceased, Zakari Idi, spoke to Citi News about the incident.
They came and shot my brother's wife yesterday in the evening around a little after 4 o'clock. She was in her room and he pulled her out to the entrance of the house. All that I know is that this is a story of witchcraft. She has some, she's very little grown, around 60s or 50s, 60s. It was done broad daylight, so we called the police and informed them, and they came in and quiet from the distance. She was there with the daughters in the house, so they picked the information from the daughters what really happened and sent the body to Wale Wale for autopsy. So presently, the body is away in Wale Wale Hospital for autopsy. That is a known person. It's not that he came from somewhere. He's a family member, the woman's own family. We reported to the police. The police came in at the time he had left. We don't know his whereabouts. We don't know where he is now. Well, we are in a mourning situation.
Zakari Idi is a brother-in-law to the 60-year-old woman killed after being accused of witchcraft in the Northeast region.
We'll go to the Western region where traditional leaders in Asoko, located in the Shama district, have expressed their dissatisfaction with their exclusion from the 9-member committee tasked with investigating the quarry explosion at Atono Aboso, which resulted in 6 fatalities. Addressing a press conference, the chief of Asoko, Nana Brekum, criticized both the local and central government for neglecting their community in this matter.
Another indication that clearly manifests the intent of ignoring the people of Asoko as part of the affected people is the formation of 9-member committee to probe the cause of the explosion. We believe that as owners and leasers of the land on which the explosion occurred, we should inevitably be part or represented on the committee. Our question to the authorities who set up the committee and the members of the committee is members of the press. Do they have the intent to contact us for information as part of their work? And if I may ask them, do they have any justification that we will cooperate after you have been treated as foreigners or invisible residing in a spiritual realm? We are indeed peeved, disappointed. We also feel ashamed for being disregarded and disrespected on our own land and at our own backyard after the occurrence of the incident, which caused numerous problems, both spiritually and physically. Part of our disappointment emanates from the fact that all the attention is only on the physical effects and the damage caused. Can those claiming to know everything accept the spiritual effects and damages and prefer solutions?
Nana Brekum is the chief of Asoko in the Shama district of the Western region.
Well, let's turn our attention to Get Fund because the minority in parliament is calling for an investigation by the Office of the Special Prosecutor into allegations of misappropriated funds within the Get Fund scholarship program, allegedly involving high-ranking state officials. There have been reports indicating that some government appointees have been misusing scholarship funds. Now, Dr. Clement Apart, the deputy ranking member on the Education Committee of Parliament, stated that individuals involved in such alleged misconduct should be held accountable.
One is that the Office of the Special Prosecutor could initiate a probe. And I have seen information, and there are contact people who have published their experiences with regards to these matters who can be tracked down to come and provide testimony. We also know of instances where other media networks have come public to speak to situations where persons who are not qualified to be awarded scholarships were given scholarships, and they have seen that information where people have taken the scholarships on the back of an excuse of going abroad to study, but to go abroad and engage in other activities and yet take the monies from the state. And then we also have a situation.
He had the Deputy Ranking Member on the Education Committee of Parliament, Dr. Clement Park. Meanwhile, the Scholarship Secretariat has declined to comment on the matter.
Now, the Member of Parliament for Medina, Francis Xavier Sosu, has proposed a private member's bill aimed at removing taxes on menstrual hygiene products. High prices for sanitary products have made them unaffordable for many young girls and women during menstruation. Mr. Sosu's bill seeks to amend the Customs Tariffs and Levies Act 2022, Act 1082 by reclassifying menstrual hygiene products from final consumer goods to zero-rated essential social goods, effectively eliminating the 15% value-added tax on these products. The Medina MP, in an interview with Citi News, called on his fellow parliamentarians to support this initiative, stressing the importance of making menstrual hygiene products more accessible and affordable for women and girls.
As we all cry about how our economy has deteriorated and cry about high cost of living and everything, this tax handle further pains the world of women because they don't have a choice whether they cannot straight. We don't have such taxes on condoms. So why should we have that tax component on menstrual hygiene products? You, as you may well be aware, people who experience menstrual cycles could be of any class. I mean, the rich and poor, the strong, the weak. And so in January, when government introduced the tax handle, we made a lot of noise about it and said it was a bad tax. So we thought that government was going to review it during the mid-year budget review. And in August, when government came back to Parliament, it didn't happen. So I felt it was very, very necessary that I take up this matter and bring the proposal before the Speaker and rally support from our women caucuses and gender committee and all others who believe that this tax handle is really, really insensitive to ensure that we have the law repealed.
How positive are you that this time round is going to make an impact? Because it's something you've been talking about since the beginning of the year.
Well, I think that this is going to be decided again on a simple majority vote in Parliament. And so if it matters to every parliamentarian, if it matters to them that they will go back to these women to rally support to come back to Parliament, they will go back to our mothers who may be leading campaigns for them, who may be singing for them as they get into the communities. At least they should do just this one for our mothers, particularly the most vulnerable.
You had MP for Medina, Francis Xavier Sosu.
Now, one of the police officers involved in the leaked tape controversy, Superintendent George Asari, has requested that the committee investigating the tape hear evidence from 3 individuals to support his claims against Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Ekufu Dampare. In his testimony, Superintendent Asari accused the IGP of various allegations, including personalizing some police units for extrajudicial killings and awarding a contract to Chief Bugri Nabu, an MPP politician who is alleged to have recorded the conversation. Superintendent Alice's lawyers have indicated that 2 civilians, Isao Yakubu and Samuel Ofori, will testify to allegations that the IGP awarded a contract to Bugri Nabu and also on Mr. Nabu's role in securing the IGP position for Dr. George Ekufu Dampare. Another police officer, ASP Alhaji Bawa Abdul Jalil, is expected to testify regarding alleged extrajudicial killings by the Police Intelligence Directorate, allegedly personalized by the IGP.
The Accra Regional Police Commander COP Saibu Garba has been summoned by the Police Management Board to answer questions on the brutalization of protesters of the Occupy Julobi House demonstration by the police. The protesters, who were demonstrating against the government's economic policies and alleged corruption, were met with excessive force from the police last Thursday. Almost 50 protesters were arrested. Citi News sources within the police service have revealed that the police service has taken a serious view of the matter and has queried COP Garba and also summoned him to explain the matter.
Now, the district chief executive of Pandai says his office is awaiting funds from the Northern Development Authority to repair a large crater on a major road in Nasande. This issue came to light after recent rains and flooding exacerbated the poor condition of the road, leading to the tragic drowning of 2 children. The DCE Atta Emmanuel Kofi Tatablata mentioned that despite being aware of the problem for some time, the lack of funds has been a hindrance to addressing the issue.
It has come to my desk for a very long time, and then we have budgeted 1 million per each constituency, and that's what we have submitted to the Secretariat NDA, that when they are packaging our 1 million per each constituency, we need to consider Nasande's gata, and that is exactly what we are waiting that at least us. We have to do the cost analysis, and it's a gata that we cannot use the district assembly because assessing the 24th assembly, very huge sum of money. So we started to consult the NDA, Northern Development Authority, and ask them when they are packaging our 1 million per each constituency, try to factor that one in the accounts of consulting the gata. That is what we have done so far, waiting for the funds to come and that gata.
In the interim, the DCE says his outfit will create a pathway to make movement on the stretch safer.
We only need to be very careful and advise the community that when you are crossing, when you are hitting the road from Gatwa Kura entering to Nasande, your right hand side is very dangerous. So we are trying to create some pathway so that as and when maybe clouds gathered, maybe any child that is moving across is raining, the fellow can get access to cross the community. And that is the option we are looking at for maybe the construction of the gata comment. Everything has to do with finances, and then we are trying to mobilize money to be able to do that. I'll have a discussion with you because it's also an inch, the part of the constituency. Yes, we can have a discussion with you. And I also talk to you if you can also do that to also help the district. Very good. We only have to let Nanimo and some other officers and myself go there to engage them, to let them know that we have the community at heart, and then we are with them, and they should let us come together to see what we can do to help.
Atta Emmanuel Kofi Tatablata is the DCE of Pandai.
Now, a 27-year-old attendant at the Wisdom Gas Refill Station in Katamanso, located within the Kpong Katamanso municipality, is currently receiving treatment at the Tema General Hospital after sustaining injuries in a fire incident. The fire started at the discharge pump, and the intense pressure caused the explosion of the tires beneath the gas bulk. The Tema Regional Public Relations Officer of the Ghana National Fire Service, Division Officer 3, Ebenezer Yensu, provided details about the incident.
We were able to save about 20 tons of gas that was in the BRV. We had gas in the gas. There was gas in the BRV. We had about 20 tons of it in the BRV. Then the dispensing tank, the tank that they normally use to discharge for the field, that one was also salvaged as well, and the dispensing machine that was there was also salvaged. There are 2 other offices around that we were able to also save from being destroyed from the fire as well. But unfortunately, we had one person injured in the process. That was actually a 7-year-old attendant who was at the gas station, got injured in the process when the fire started, and he was rushed to the Tema General Hospital for treatment, and doctors have given him medical care.
He further advised that fuel station proprietors need to implement stringent precautionary measures to prevent such incidents from occurring.
We are now trying to get to the exact cause of the fire. What happened for the flame to light up at the gas yesterday? We've been able to see that it was during the discharge, and so we advise all gas and fuel station owners that the fire service has always been engaging them. We tell them that should there be a discharge, when they are discharging their product, they should ensure that there's a fireman present to ensure that the valves, the connecting valves, and other pipes that are loose are all safe before the discharge.
You heard the Tema Regional Public Relations Officer of the Ghana National Fire Service, DO3 Ebenezer Yenzu.
The Ghana Water Company Limited has attributed its inability to entirely change the Kpong water treatment plant and others across the country to lack of funds. This follows an announcement by the country's major distributor that it will shut down the Kpong treatment plant to improve on water supply in the Tema metropolis and adjoining communities. The 5-day project is expected to strengthen the weaker parts of the pipeline and generate revenue for the company. Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Water Company Limited, Stanley Mate, has been speaking to Citi News.
The pipeline is gone past its expiry date, but the Ghana Water Company Limited hasn't got money to change the entire pipeline. I mean, it's capital intensive and we can't do that now. And so we are using internally generated funds to change the weaker sections of the pipeline to save the integrity of the pipeline, and then to reduce the leakages at best, and then also to safeguard some revenue. Okay, so we're losing a lot of revenue and a lot of water. And so we needed to do that. So that is what we are doing now. We did the first phase in April 2021, and then we did the second phase about 2 months ago, and then we are doing the third phase this week.
That was the Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Water Company Limited, Stanley Mate.
You're still listening to the Citi Prime News live from our studios at Adabraka in Accra. Still to come in the bulletin, calls for social and economic inclusion deepens as recent report by Ghana Statistical Service reveals a glaring gender wage gap. We'll bring you details of this story and others shortly. Do stay with us.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Happy birthday to you. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
Throughout all life-changing moments such as graduations, weddings, funerals, birthdays, ATL is there to ensure you're never out of style. When you think fabric, think ATL. Log on to atlfabrics.com. Order and buy your favorite ATL fabric. You can also visit our shop at number 40 Kwame Nkrumah Avenue, opposite the Swansea Shopping Arcade at Accra Central. Also available in leading fabric dealer shops in Accra, Kumasi, and Cape Coast. ATL, bringing fabric to life.
You know the now. You are living the now. You feel secure in the now. But what about tomorrow? What happens when you can no longer do the things you love? What happens to your loved ones when you are no longer here? Get Mikakrawa from Prudential Life now and protect your future and that of your loved ones. With as little as 3 Ghana cedis, Mikakrawa covers you in case of death, total and permanent disability, or critical illness.
Nadal star 778 ash. Oh, I'm telling you this year. Come on, this year.
See, no one knows tomorrow. No one knows tomorrow. Anything can happen. Once more, you will fit enjoy to sorrow. In such times, we rely on insurance. No need to borrow.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Yeah, welcome back. Now, a recent report by the Ghana Statistical Service has revealed that women in Ghana are earning 34% less than men in wages for equal value. The data has once again sparked concerns about ensuring equity as far as the implementation of the UN Sustainable Development Goal 5 is concerned. Citi News' Ajua Tinkrama has been gauging the reaction of stakeholders in the following report.
The issue of employment and the salary that comes with it at the workplace is often shrouded in secrecy. But imagine doing a job of equal value, but you are earning less than your male counterpart just because of your gender. Well, that is a shocking revelation from the 2022 Annual Household Income and Expenditure Survey that reveals that women in Ghana are earning 34.2% less than their male counterpart in terms of wages. On average, women earn around 7 cedis out of every 12 cedis earned by men. At the current rate, experts estimate that it will take a staggering 257 years to close the global gender pay gap. September 18th each year is designated as the International Equal Pay Day, a day dedicated to intensifying efforts to achieve equal pay for work of equal value. This initiative further builds on the United Nations commitment to eradicate all forms of discrimination, including those against women and girls. Labour statistician and economist at the Ghana Statistical Service, Anthony Odro-Denchura, provides a detailed analysis of the Ghanaian findings.
You have, of course, as you rightly said, there are some women within certain categories of occupation. Yes, just as they earn higher in those fields where they find themselves. There are also equally women in some low-wage, occupations who also earn low, and so they strike out. You have women representing in one particular occupation, and may even have similar, if you like, qualifications, and even better. Yet, because that occupation is seen to be male-dominated, they are consistently paid low.
However, Labour expert Austin Game disagrees with these findings. He asserts that workers are compensated based on the value they bring to organizations, not their gender.
I'm an employer myself. One of the highest paid persons in my company is the female. She's a deputy CEO in the company. She earns more than the general manager in the company. You understand? Because the value placed upon what she's doing demands that she should be paid well. But I strongly hold the view that we don't have such discrimination in Ghana. Even in the informal sector, it's extremely very narrow.
The report reveals that the situation in the private formal sector is somewhat better, with women earning 29.9% less than their male counterparts. Employer Francisca Kakari, in an interview with Citi News, argues that there is no justification for women earning less when all employment variables are the same. As a former managing director of Glyco, she suggests that in some cases women may exhibit a less assertive approach to career development, potentially contributing to this disparity.
You employ a guy and a lady the same year. Within a year or two, the lady gets married. Once they marry and have children, they think they have arrived. Our female or our ladies need to have vision for themselves. They don't have to live in the vision of the man. Yes, Bible says go and marry the man and help him. It doesn't mean that neglect everything that you have to do for yourself.
Abena Isamuabia, who has dedicated over 3 decades to the Statistical Service and is now a Director of Administration, believes there isn't a significant pay gap in the formal sector. She urges employers to provide equal opportunities to all workers regardless of their gender.
What somebody is worth, please let's give it to the person. There are jobs that is supposed to be, in quotes, generally known to be a male-dominated, but there are women who are applying these jobs and they are doing even better. So depending on how the person is performing, please, let's remunerate.
As part of efforts to deal with this challenge, some experts are calling for a standardization of the labor entry requirement to ensure that all persons who enter the labor market, regardless of their gender, get equal pay. Reporting for Citi News, my name is Ajwa Tenkrama Domina.
Wilma, do you enjoy wele on your wache or in your okra soup?
Yes, I do.
Okay, but in Abuakwa North Municipality, the students there are not happy because there's a wele processing company close to their hostels, close to their homes and their businesses, and they say that is causing a lot of nuisance and health risks to them. Now, City News' Neil Ni Amate Kanaku visited the community and has come through with this report.
Residents of Savior Church Missions, a new community near the Savior Senior High School in Osiam, say their lives are at risk due to the continuous pollution of the environment by a private individual who is in a wele processing business. The man, who is operating illegally according to the residents and the Environmental Protection Agency, operates day and night. He burns car tires with the skins of cows to extract wele. The process produces high-risk dark smoke, which mostly covers the entire space, entering homes, dormitories and classrooms of students in the area. Unfortunately, when City News team got to the area to pick first-hand details, the man did not operate that day, but remains of his burning activities were visible at the site. Some angry residents shared their frustrations with City News.
It's very quite challenging because when he's burning the tires for his car skin burning activities, you can't stay here. The smoke, it is causing many coughing, body itching, and other elements like catarrh, coughing, even cancer.
According to residents, the reluctance of the wele processor to move from the area even after officials of the Environmental Protection Agency and the Ghana Police Service moved in to stop his operations a month ago has made many land developers and new homeowners to vacate the area, abandoning their projects.
We are so worried to the extent that we can't even sleep. Our children are getting or falling sick, and then we can't even, you can't even stay around. You can't even stay around during the day and then during the night. Majority of the people around here have even moved because of these activities. He's a man that whatever you say, if you are not careful, he will even threaten to kill you. So please, we want authorities to come to our aid.
According to Mr. Felix Adutre, the Eastern Regional Director of the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, his outfit took steps to get the illegal business relocated when it got to their attention and gave him an outline of relevant documents needed before he could operate again.
A complaint came to us from Savior Church and the school, the nursing training. So as an institution, we took steps. And the first steps we took was to invite the person. We sent our officers to the site. They assessed the situation. Then the report indicated that yes, there was a wele processing facility there, and the situation as described needs to be addressed. We therefore invited all the stakeholders, the key stakeholders, including the Assembly, the FDA, the Standards Authority, and those related to the church, the complainants, to our office for a meeting, because we wanted to be sure about even the standard of the wele that goes out and the preparation method. And since FDA and Standard Authority has that mandate, we brought them in. After the discussion, we agreed that the facility must be relocated, one. Then two, all the necessary documentation, approvals must be obtained.
The new area where the wele processor is operating has a cluster of schools including primary, junior high, senior high, and also the Savior Nursing Training College, all in that space. The activity of the wele processor, City News understands, almost forced over 4,000 students to stage an attack on the business owner. The lecturers, however, got wind of the planned action by the students early and intervened.
In fact, we are so much worried about the activities of this man. Where we find ourselves is Savior Senior High School, Savior Basic, and the Nursing Training College. It's a cluster of schools. About 4,000 students are here because basic school more than 1,000, secondary more than 2,000, and it is very closer to the community where the man does his activities. It is not helping the school at all, none of the schools.
What are the health implications of his activities in the area? Isaac Esrifi Kwachi is a health practitioner at the Savior Memorial Hospital.
We have been
receiving or getting patients from this community with bronchitis. You all know what causes bronchitis. And me personally, my child had to be on oxygen for 4 days because of this man's activities. And a lot of health challenges this man is causing within this community. So we are pleading. We don't want anything untoward to happen to our people.
Attempt by Citi News team to reach the businessman for his side of the story was not successful. But what is the next line of action by the EPA?
I can't say anything what action we are going to take unless we have visited the site, the place, and then assess the situation, whether he's come back or from where he relocated to, which was conducive for his own work and for the school. And then if there's any action that we have to take, we'll go ahead to do that.
Unfortunately, today, the man in question did not operate. Now, behind me, you can see debris of the tires burnt in the process of making this wheelie. Now, residents here in Osiem are really worried about the high levels of respiratory diseases they are currently battling with as a result of the activity of the wheelie processor here, and are calling on relevant stakeholders to immediately intervene. For Citi News, Neo Ni Amate Kanaku, Osiem.
And to the Ashanti region, traders in Kumasi are getting impatient with the abandonment of Phase 2 of the KGTS Central Market Redevelopment Project. Critical projects in Kumasi, including Phase 2 of the KGTS Central Market Redevelopment, the mother and baby unit at the Komfanochi Teaching Hospital, Phases 2 and 3 of the Kumasi International Airport expansion, and some Sino Hydro projects have all stalled since December last year. The Secretary of Combined Kumasi Central Market Traders Union, Emilia Kofi, speaking to Citi News, stated that they are demanding authorities to prioritize this project and will soon embark on a demonstration once they finish modalities with the police.
Been to the mayor's office a couple of times to inquire, because you just can't demonstrate when you don't have any concrete information. We went there and we were assured that when the IMF funds come in, we'll be allowed, work would commence. Unfortunately, we have realized that even though the IMF funding is in, no work is being done. And there are quite a number of us who were evacuated from the place. So our people keep pushing that if we would want to go diplomatically and the government is not listening to us, then we will have to take to the streets so that somebody sees us, somebody hears us. So as we talk with you right now, we are still dealing with the police to give us dates when we can demonstrate so that the government will hear us and know that we are in need.
Emilia Kofi is the Secretary of Combined Kumasi Central Market Traders Union. Reacting to the mounting concerns, the Mayor of Kumasi, Samuel Pine, stated that while he cannot provide an exact date for the resumption of work, he anticipates that work on these projects will restart soon.
Yeah, as part of the government's debt restructuring program, certain projects and certain international funded projects were put on hold. But I know that about some few weeks ago, the contractor, the name rhymes, the contractor is the contractor. Yeah, they were on site with the project consultants, officials from Finance Ministry and Local Government Ministry. They've come to do comprehensive study of the delay and how the next funding arrangements. And I know pretty soon they're going to come back on site and start and continue with the work. No, I wasn't part of the discussion, but what I gather is that pretty soon they're going to be on site to continue with work.
You heard the Mayor of Kumasi, Samuel Pine, and that's it for Citi Prime News, which has been live from our studios at Adabraka in Accra. For more news, you can log on to our website, citinewsroom.com. I am Wilma Obubi-Sakoman, and I did this with
Caleb Kuda.
Up next is the afternoon's edition of the Citi Business News with Nashika Caesar. Do stay tuned. Many thanks for doing the listening here, and do have a good night.
Citi 97.3. More variety.